Regina, you've had a lot of time to write. When did you start writing commercially, like writing books?
Okay, so in 2012, I graduated in 2007
Okay,
from Makerere University.
okay,
Tried looking around for a job and wasn't successful.
yeah,
So I went into, opened up a secretarial bureau where I was doing secretarial work, basically. So in 2012, when I was doing that secretarial work, I saw a call out for poetry, a poetry prize. At that time, it was called the Nambozo Poetry Prize, Poetry Awards,
okay,
the BN Poetry Awards, Beverly Nambozo Poetry Awards. So and the theme for the awards that year was money. Then I was like, I can, let me try submitting something.
okay,
So I wrote a poem, Progress, and submitted it. And surprisingly, I was first runner up.
okay.
And one of the things that came with that was USD 150 US dollars. Was the prize money given.
All right.
And that was so exciting for me.
Uh-huh.
So I was like, oh, so you can actually write and get money out of it.
Yeah.
And so that, for me, that was at the point where I was like, okay, so you can actually write. And but also during the prize award, the award ceremony, I was able to get in touch with the Uganda Women Writers Association and different writers who came to attend the award ceremony.
Yeah.
And so I spoke to them, and they were encouraging me, and I especially spoke to the Uganda Women Writers Association, FemWrite, and they were like, oh, we publish books of women writers. I was like, okay. So afterwards I joined the Uganda Women Writers Association. I remember taking my poetry. They have a Readers Writers Club every Monday. It sits every Monday to review authors' work and basically critique and give feedback on the authors' unpublished work.
Okay.
So I took my unpublished work there, a few poems, and the first meeting when I went there, my poems didn't live up to what I expected them.
Because you found competition?
Not competition. It's just a platform for peer review.
Okay.
But so I say it wasn't as good as I expected it to be.
Yes.
And from the feedback that I got from the different readers and the writers that were there, and it kind of made me grow. That platform helped me grow a lot, because from the feedback I received from them, I would go back and do revisions and revise my works and all that. And then it is also from there that I would attend writing workshops. When people would put up a call for poetry to be published, I would submit my work, and I got accepted to different anthologies.
Okay.
Usually it wasn't big money, but at least there was something that would come back, and that is how I got into writing.
Okay.
Commercially, getting now the commercial aspect, where you write and in exchange for your writing is recognized in exchange.
Okay.
And then in the recent past, I've been doing a lot of commission work, where we are commissioned to write about someone, an organization or someone commissions us to write a story about something, and then you paid for that effort.
Okay.
And I have a number of stories in that.
Okay.
My story
here.
in this, is a
You write in
commission work.
English, or you can also write in vernacular?
So I write majorly in English.
Okay.
I'm trying to learn how to write in my mother tongue, because I also want to. I kind of feel like we are losing out on our mother tongues very fast. And so I'm trying to also write in my mother tongue. I'm not yet very comfortable with that, because I'm also just, I can read the language, but I'm not very good with writing it.
Okay, you can read it and speak, but
And
not
speak,
very
but
good.
not very good with writing.
Okay.
So it's still a struggle. I've not done any commercial work.
Okay.
I think I only have 2 poems that have been published in my mother tongue, where we did an anthology of stories about writers wrote their stories their poems in their mother tongues.
Yeah.
It's published by FemRite. Go Tell Home. That's the
Okay.
title of that anthology.
Go Ten Home.
Go Tell Home.
Okay. All right. Now today you have two of your works. You have Solid Threads and Remembering the Future. Yeah.
Yes.
One of them is thicker than the other. Does it mean this one has more stories?
Yes.
Okay.
So Remembering the Future is an anthology of 15 stories written by 12 different authors. Basically, and it's a bigger volume of work. They're non-fiction stories. Non-fiction is their lived realities of the different writers. And it's one of the commissioned works that I did recently. And one of the reasons I really love Remembering the Future is because it gave me an opportunity to archive what I feel like is a lost cultures that cultures that we are losing out.
Yeah.
But it also gave me an opportunity to explore some of the different cultures, the traditional cultures of my people, and my response to those traditional cultures.
Okay.
And I find some of them are very intriguing, some of them are very great, but then there are those that I feel uncomfortable with, and I wouldn't want to carry them on. So in writing this story, I was going through that season where I was dealing with that. Which are those cultures that I can carry on and embrace? Which are those that I'm not comfortable with and I would like to drop? And do I have the freedom to actually drop them?
Yeah.
And so for me, that's one of the reasons I love that. But it also has like different stories about different cultures of Uganda.
Okay.
You know, Uganda, we have more than 52 tribes.
Yeah.
And so all these stories are from different, some stories are from Western Uganda, talking about, for example, Edna talks about how girls used to be treated, girls who would get pregnant before marriage, how they would be treated. And basically they would be put on an island and thrown off a cliff and to die. Yeah.
Whoa.
It was that harsh.
That actually happened?
It did happen.
Okay.
It did happen. Yes.
Wow. Uh-huh.
And how it is now. So and then there are some stories about this concept. You know, when we're growing up, I'm a feminist.
Yeah.
And feminism teaches us you recognize women empowerment and everything, but also when you in the story of the two matriarchs written by Amoti in that Remembering the Future, he talks about the soft power of women in the old traditional culture.
Okay.
And when I read Amoti's story and I go back and reflect on my own family history, my grandmother, my great-grandmother, I actually realized that yes, there was patriarchy, but there are aspects of matriarchy also there, the power. Like usually you find most culture homes, women somehow they might not make decision around land, but they will make decision about some of the most important things.
Like what to eat for dinner, like where children should go to school.
Yeah,
like
but not only that.
Yeah.
Not only that. It's very easy to find a man when you go to borrow money from him, and then he tells you, "I'll speak to my wife."
Okay. Yes.
Someone says when a man tells you that, it's basically telling you
it's not happening. Okay. And how about this one, the Solid Threads?
So Solid Threads is there are 8 short stories.
Okay.
It's a short story collection written by me. They're all short stories written by me.
Okay.
And these short stories are fiction. But of course, as we all know that writers, we kind of shade our experiences in the short stories. So they kind of have some of my experiences fictionalized in there, but they're basically about fictionalized characters and everything. And there are different themes that it tackles. As I said, I'm a feminist. There are all stories about women and girls. So some of them are coming of age stories. For example, one of the stories, the very first story there is The Search. And it's about a young girl's questioning her sexuality. when I talk about sexuality is, in African culture, okay, in our culture,
Okay.
sex is not something that people talk about openly. It's never discussed.
Yes.
And you don't talk about your body as a young girl or as a woman. It's something that just happens to you somewhere. If you're lucky enough, they'll give you one line of what to do. And for example, if you're a young girl and then you start your periods, they'll give you one like, oh, you have to keep clean. And they'll not give you explain the biology or anything.
Yes.
No one will really talk about
All right.
that. So that story is about this young girl who is going through that stage where she is trying to explore her body and sex and the whole idea about sex and all that. And so when she tries to speak to her mother doesn't really speak to her. Instead,
Okay.
it's like, oh, you're not supposed to talk about that.
Yeah.
And so what this young girl, she starts speaking to her friends, and her friends' idea about sex was totally
Different from what is actually supposed to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so she's pushed into exploring because she listens to her friend, and she's pushed into exploring, and then she actually realizes it's not what she had actually expected. And so that's a coming of age story really there.
Oh, interesting.
And yeah.
Uh-huh. And these books, now that you are published in Uganda, how can we get them? To just learn about your culture, learn about your writing. Can we get them in Kenya?
Yeah, so just this morning I spoke to Nuria Books.
Okay.
And so they have Remembering the Future.
Yeah.
They will also get Solid Thread or other. I'm going to upload them very soon. So if you're in Kenya, you can always reach out to Nuria Books.
Okay.
Nuria. I don't know if I'm pronouncing
Yes,
it right.
Nuria.
Yeah, Nuria Books. And then also, I'm also right now exhibiting with the Writers Guild.
Okay.
So you can always reach out to Wesonga, Obingo, or Pendo Gladwell, and the writers under the Writers Guild, and you'll be able to access the book.
Right.
But also you can just send me a message and be able to reach out and speak to anyone who can actually get you the book. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to be here up to Sunday when the book fair. So also.
Okay.
Yeah.
What number can you reach you on? You can just tell us if you know it offhand.
My Ugandan number is +256
Yes.
759 481 995.
Say it again.
Yeah. +256
Yeah.
759 481 995.
Okay. Thank you, Regina.
Thank you so much.
It's been such a pleasure to talk to you. And have you enjoyed the book fair so far?
Yeah, I have.
Okay.
And I'm so happy that I've been hosted here.
Okay.
I walked in and spoke to you, and you're like, oh, we'll be glad to host you.
Yeah.
And for me, it's like really, really a great honor,
Okay.
great pleasure. Thank you so much for providing this platform.
Yeah.
And I've also met so many different people, spoken to different authors, different stakeholders, and I'm really looking forward to meeting more people. I was so excited when I saw the Stitching in Stitches people.
All right. Yes.
But one of the things that has impressed me so much
Yeah.
was that from Wednesday, every day school children
Yes.
have been coming here for the book fair. And for
Yeah.
me, it is something that has impressed me so much. The passion with which Kenya is embracing reading right from the early age. And I was so impressed that you find young children also buying,
Yes. Oh,
using
yes.
their small pocket money
To
to
buy
buy
books.
books. It was so impressive for me. I
Oh.
don't think if we have, if that ever happened,
Okay.
it would be. Because, then you are sure, because when you have young children interested in reading, and they know the value of books, they know that they are able to access these spaces. I was at the Writers Guild, and there was this young girl who came, and she was bargaining over a book.
Oh.
And I was so impressed. And the book was 1,000. She was like, no, I have 400 shillings. I was like, okay. And she insisted, and she was like, okay, 450.
All right.
And with all confidence, I
Yes.
was like, wow, this is great.
Okay.
You know, so for me, that's one of the highlights really for me.
Okay.
Of having seeing these young children using their small pocket money to buy books for themselves. For me, it's a culture that I think should continue and be built up and everything. You know, children of all ages.
Yes.
It was very
It
impressive.
was very impressive.
Very,
And we are
very,
so glad
very.
you enjoyed yourself.
Thank you.
And hopefully we shall also see you next year
Thank you.
again for the book fair.
Thank you.
Yes, and we hope that whatever you have learned here, you can take it back home and see how those markets that are there for books can also be changed to make it a book fair.
True.
Thank you, Regina. We really appreciate. We really appreciate your coming, solid threads, and also remembering the future. Thank you, viewers and listeners, for listening to us and listening to Regina. Thank you for gracing us. And we wish you all the very best when you go back home to Uganda.
Thank you.
And we hope to see you again next
you.
year.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, and all the very best in everything
so
you do.
much. Yeah,
Thank
God
you,
bless.
listeners. See you next time. Thank you.